If you're just starting out selling your own brand on either Amazon or your own website, you're probably a bit freaked out by the tariffs this year. And that's okay. We all got a little freaked out, but you don't need to be. Let's go find out why. Hey everyone, Mike McClary back again with our Tariff Survival Series, here with Kerim Kfuri from the Atlas Network, working with Damon John and his team, helping people all over the world navigate the craziness that is the world of tariffs. And so if you're a new person and you're just getting involved in this business, do not fret. This is still one of the best businesses in the entire world. Becoming a brand owner, taking control of your destiny is one of the best things you can do to really make your financial future better than it ever could be. So you're not at the whim of anyone else. And so, Kerim, I'm going to hit you with it right away. A new person comes up, they see these tariffs, they see them going all over the place. If you were advising a new person like you do so many of the huge brands out there, what advice would you give to them?
First of all, buy my book. The reality of it is that you need to have some kind of a basic level of education around global supply chain. And what I mean by that is that the book that I wrote is called Supply Chain Ups and Downs. And it's called that because anybody who is new to global supply chain needs to understand that there are going to be controllable and uncontrollable factors. And the uncontrollable factors are the ones that are the toughest to deal with because you just don't know where they're coming from. It's a pandemic one day, it's a strike at the ports another day, it's an act of nature, force majeure, or tariffs, or a conflict, or whatever it may be. And in global supply chain, we still have to deal with all of these things. So here is what I would suggest for anybody who is getting started in global supply chain. Understand some fundamentals and basics, meaning get some education. Either read about it, learn about it, talk with other people that you know that are in the industry that know about global supply chain, ask all those questions, right? The second thing is assume the worst with the best intentions, right? So negative focus with positive intentions. What do I mean by that? Assume that your cost infrastructure increases by 100%. Assume that you can't have products for 6 months. Assume these sort of doomsday scenarios because guess what? They're not that uncommon in global supply chain. And the more prepared you are to be elastic as a business, especially in the beginning stages, right? Where everything is in flux, the more prepared you're going to be able to be to navigate the challenges that can and do occur in global supply chain every day, week, and month. So again, the idea that you need to be nimble, you need to be adaptable. These are the ways to be disruption proof in global supply chain, whether we're talking about tariffs or any other kinds of challenges. It's really a mentality, honestly, that then gets put into a process to service that type of a mentality. And the process, again, is if we can't have fully dependable product flow, or we can't have fully dependable pricing, and so on and so forth, are we okay in the gray? Are we okay in a band of pricing, low to medium to high? Are we okay in an inventory level of low to medium to high? How do we navigate if we're high? How do we navigate if we're low? How do we navigate if we're in the middle? You have to create almost some case studies around how your business is going to be able to operate and navigate to truly be risk mitigated and risk averse. You can never plan for every scenario, that's for sure. And I am not a proponent of analysis paralysis, which, is a curse for many businesses where they sit around and say, we're just going to think about it for 6 months or a year, and then we'll get started. No, you have to get started, but sometimes you have to phase in the approach. Let's start with an introductory order. Let's start with, the first quarter, not order 2 or 3 quarters worth. Let's see how we manage it, as we go through step 1 to step 2 to step 3. And in doing so, then celebrate your successes by reinvesting your success back into the business, in the things that are working, and learn how to push away the things that aren't working. Keep emotions out of it and really look to be very didactic around the results that you are getting and the feedback that you're getting from your customers, your polling groups, focus groups, and so on and so forth, to really be able to make sure that you're making the right kinds of products that people want at price points they want, at frequencies that they want, and that when and if challenges arise, that you are, again, nimble and adaptable enough to be able to manage them. So this is really the advice that I can give for any new businesses that are really kind of getting started, that the unforeseen is going to happen. The challenges are going to be there, and just be ready to, move around those challenges. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water, right? You have to move around the pebbles. You got to, you've got to be ebb and flow. And I think that that's really important.
That's great advice, not just for new people in this business, but even existing people. It's a mindset, and like you said, be prepared for disruption. That's going to happen. There's I guess the term is a DRP, a disaster recovery plan. I don't like to think of it that way, but a lot of big companies come up with disaster recovery plans because they want to know how to stay in business should the worst happen. We're talking things like earthquake, hurricane if you're on the coast, things like that. And we're not saying you have to go to that level, but think about the things that could happen. I know, Kareem, when I was getting started in this business, we saw so many people, 10 years ago, their Amazon accounts got shut down. That was just the way it was back then. It doesn't happen nearly like it did, thank goodness. But it happened so much that I remember sitting down with my brother, who was my business partner at the time, and forcing him to hey, we got to think through this. What are we going to do tomorrow if we wake up and our account shut down and we can't get it back? What are our steps? What are we going to do? Are we going to, it was like, do we sell on other platforms? Do we get a job to help supplement things? Like, those are the kinds of things that you don't want to dwell on those things, like you said, but you need to have an idea. Like, if some of the things that could happen do happen, how are you going to get by? Because your life is much more important than this business. And there are steps you can take just to have some mental preparedness, be tough so that, don't become a drone, but don't get so emotional about things. That's great advice. I imagine you've been giving people that advice a lot lately, Kareem.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at the same time, too, you can't really be like an ostrich with your head in the
Yeah.
sand either. You have to just be aware that, again, it's being negative with a positive intention. That's exactly what it is. I guess for us and for me, it's become so commonplace that I have no emotional reactivity to when the worst happens. My immediate next thought is, how is it going to get solved?
Yeah.
I go right there. I don't say, "Oh, the sky's falling. What are we going to do?" I'm like, "How are we going to hold the sky up?" So it's just a different kind of a mentality around it, and it comes with some level of experience. But if I was to impart that knowledge to any new business owner, it would be exactly that: have a tough skin, realize that things are not going to go the way you want them to, and that's okay. Look at that as an opportunity when those things happen.
We have a rule at Amazing. It's been in place since I became CEO several years ago, and that is, my door is always open anytime anyone has a problem, but they can't bring a problem unless they at least have a proposed solution. It can be a bad solution, it can be something outlandish, but I want them at least to take that next step and say, "Hey, here's something that happened. Here's what I think we should do." Because that way, people aren't just kind of raising fire alarms everywhere, and they're also thinking through, and they're getting past the problem onto the solution, just like what you said.
Yeah, be negative with a
Yeah.
positive intention.
Yeah.
That's it. Be negative with a positive intention. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're out there trying to be a naysayer or an overly sarcastic person. It's just saying, "Hey, guess what? These things absolutely could happen, do happen. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it could happen. And if it happens, are we going to be, stuck with no idea what to do? Or are we going to actually be able to have some kind of potential resolutions?" It's better that you think about it a little bit than be caught with no kind of solutions at all, and then everybody's out of a job, or you can't fulfill orders, or any kind of number of other challenges happen. I'd rather just spend a little bit of time having that mentality and avoid the worser conflict.
And it brings a lot of peace of mind too, knowing that you're going to be okay and you have a plan. Should something happen unexpectedly, you can focus on other things and not worry too much about it, because you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that if it
you
happens.
almost kind of say, like, I almost kind of say, like, "Bring it on."
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
always kinda like, "All right, we got this figured out, so what's next?" And I like that. I like that because, it's a way to really build that peace of mind, that confidence, and to really understand that your business is dynamic enough. This is a key. The dynamics of a business are the key to their success. If your business is not dynamic enough, and part of that is being able to weather storms and deal with the pros and the cons and the things that come about, then it's just a matter of time until you get that one monkey wrench that's going to just disrupt the whole thing. So the dynamic capability of a business, I think, is an essential key.
I love it. Kerim, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I've loved going through this whole series with you. We could probably spend a day talking about other things as well, but at some point we need to bring the videos to a closure. And I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you and your team. Should they have, they want to look for your help, or they just have questions. How do they reach out to you?
Absolutely. So our company is the Atlas Network. The website is theatlasnetwork.com. And there you can find out all around our global supply chain solutions and capabilities. If you have any challenges or problems or need any assistance of any kind in factory selection, manufacturing, quality control, oversight, shipping, delivery, customs, the whole A to Z. That's what we do here. So that's that. And then as far as on my personal philosophy and leadership, information around consulting or speaking engagements, or even around the book, it's all at kerimkfuri.com or any of our social media platforms under Kerim Kfuri. So that's basically the best ways.
And that book again, what's the name of it?
The book is called Supply Chain Ups and Downs, and it's available on Amazon or also at supplychainupsanddowns.com. And it's a really great read. It's 150 pages approximately. I talk about the entire industry, and then outside of that, I also talk about some interesting things like AI, nearshoring, and sustainability, which are all very hot topics today. So anybody who's looking at supply chain, whether you're a student or a consumer or a business, please pick up a copy. I hope you'll enjoy it.
I will definitely be picking that up. And if you're watching this, I recommend you do as well. All right, Kerim, thank you so much. It's been great. I know we're going to stay in touch. Hopefully I'll see you again at another event. We keep crossing paths. I'm sure we're going to connect at some point, but thank you again for joining us here and for all the great knowledge you've shared with everyone watching these videos.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. It was great, and I appreciate your time today.
All right, take care, everyone, and we'll see you in another video.